We saw everybody out there this morning. No, you're not envisioning any absences?
No, I'm not, no. All the lads that were out there, apart from, there's only Pep BL missing, but we knew that, so yeah, everybody's fine.
It seemed like you shortened your rotation on Saturday. Was that more due to game situation, or is it just confidence in who you have at this point?
No, that was game situation. Looking at the game, I was happy with what we were doing. I was thinking at the time, what substitutes we could make, what impacts they could have, but I just felt that, probably until the last 10 minutes we were on top of the game. The game became a little bit stretched in the last 10 minutes. I thought we were trying to go and get the winner, and I think when you do that against this New York team, they can open you up because they're really good on the transition with the players they've got in the final third.
I know that you don't want to be, the zebra won't change its stripes all the way through a season, but are you seeing enough from the Archie-Edon partnership to where maybe next year that turns into something that's not a break class, case of emergency type thing, that's something you can use from the start in some games?
Yeah, possibly. Archie's learning about us all the time. He's been really well accepted in the dressing room as well. I think his attitude and application that he brings to the team is very high, very strong, and the rest of the lads appreciate that as well. So, there's no reason why, come next season, the two of them could work together.
Who sets the order on penalties? Do you do that, or do they do that?
No, I did it. We had an idea of who the penalty takers would be, and then, we got in the huddle and I said, right, who fancies the first one? And, the lads come to me. If I give them a little bit of a look, then they know that I don't really want them there. But no, they would listen. We've done penalties over the last few weeks, and there've been some very good ones. So they know what they've got to go and do.
Is there anything unique that you get from watching film of a team you've played 4 times head-to-head? Or are you basically, at this point, you know everything you feel like you need to know about them? We
know a lot about each other, but there's still little bits that we can show the players, from game 3, game 4, where we can improve, and where we have to do better as well. So there's a lot of stuff that we've done well, and we need to keep doing well. So we reinforce that message with some clips from games, and there's things that we need to get better at still.
How dissimilar do you feel from a year ago at this time going into a game 3?
Listen, we went into a game 3, but we knew we was travelling away from home to a tough place in Orlando where the climate's a little bit different. It's a little bit stickier, even at this time of the year. So we knew that was going to be a tough place to go to. We were at home. We've worked hard to get that home game. If it comes to the third game, now we've got it. We've got to make use of it because both of us in New York haven't made use of home advantage so far. So that's what we have to make sure we do on Friday.
I know that there's a lot of attention around this series and attention around your guys' form, particularly without Pep BL. I know you probably would feel like you guys have handled it well. There are some outside the room who feel like the metrics don't exactly favor you. How you feel like you've kind of defied the metrics in terms of the way you guys been able to get and grind out results?
Well, we just don't invite the people outside the room in the room, do we? We're happy with the players that we've got. We lost Pep BL. There's nothing you can do about that. There'll be other teams that have lost good players as well. We've certainly won enough games without him to warrant ourselves to be in the playoffs with a really good chance of getting through.
Arturo? Wesley has mentioned that for this series it's just about just getting the job done. Game 3, what do you think the team needs to get the job done?
Score more than them. No, listen, it's a simple game still. We've got to make sure we do the basics really well. That's so important. Just the little things that you get right can become big things. If you make simple mistakes like giving the ball away, you can bring the opposition onto you when you don't really need to do that. So the biggest thing for me is making sure the lads are relaxed enough to go and do the right things. They've been doing that all season. They've won 19 games out of 34 in the regular season, so we know how to go and win football games. it's about doing it as a team, making as few mistakes as possible, but also pushing them into mistakes as well.
You mentioned doing the right things and also scoring more than that.
Mm-hmm.
What was missing on the team during the first two matches where you scored a goal?
Big chances. We didn't create enough big chances during the games. I think we've only had one in the 2 games. That was a tough chance that he missed. The other chances were half chances, I would say. Ours rather than ooze. And that's the noise the fans make after the chance. So we've got to make big chances, and we know we've got the players that are capable of that. We just haven't quite done that in the 2 previous games.
It seems like New York at times, especially when they go up, they try to hurt you guys and cut the game and play with different tactics as well. Is that something that you might be preparing to, even if they don't score first, which is what we all hope, to counter that?
Yeah, but that's happens throughout the season. If a team scores first, then they've got different tactical outlooks on it. Some will be to try and get the second goal, some will be just to delay play and kill time, some will drop deep and make it really hard for you to get through and look to transition. So, we've worked really hard throughout the season, during pre-season as well, on all these different kind of scenarios and what we would do, if that happens. So the players are ready for whatever tactical battle is going to be, on site on Friday.
Carol?
Cheers.
Westy said there are still a few gears he feels like you guys can play at. Do you feel that, what are they? Where can you get better?
I think that's just Westy. He's probably just stuck in third gear at the moment. But no, the lads are in a good place in terms of we've battled hard to get to where we were. I think I said we won 11 out of the last 13 games in the regular season, and we've come into a playoff series with that same group of players who are confident. We can play some better football for sure, but you've got to recognise the opposition that you play against as well. And I've said all the way through this, I think we're 2 really evenly matched teams. Only 2 or 3 points between us after 34 games. So it was never going to be a case of one team beating the other 3 or 4-0. So you've got to work extremely hard, and the players know that, and they'll have learnt a lot from the first 2 games against them.
Edon, do you feel like he's never going to be a guy this year that dribbles a lot and creates his own shot? Do you feel like you guys need to get him more? Yeah,
we have to get him more service. When he first come to us, and I think he spoke about this as well, he was more of a dribbler. But I like him to be getting into goal scoring parts of the pitch. He's really good when he arrives in the penalty box as the ball arrives, and that's our job to provide him with that service. Outside the penalty box, be tidy, comes into feet, set it, get back in the box. But what he does really well for us as well, in the middle part of the pitch, he runs in behind really well, which gives them a problem. You saw at times during that last game at New York, he was chasing balls in behind, BB was chasing balls in behind, and we ended up getting throw-ins in the final third.
You said you want to help keep them relaxed. How do you do that and do that fine line? Because they seem like they were mentally ready in New York.
Yeah, they're mentally ready, but it's not life and death. It's a playoff game. It's a game of football which they're good at, and that's what they live their lives to do, to go and play. So control what you can do. You can't control the noise outside of it. You can control your performance when you get on the pitch, and they're very good at that, and they've shown that this season. So go and do that and be in control of what what your body tells you to do.
Danielle?
How much, carryover or momentum really is there between a win and a PK from match 2 into going into this Friday?
Yeah, it gives you a big lift because we've gone to a place where the club's never won before. I think the Yankee Stadium. I think we've scored a few base hits and stuff like that, but never a football game. So, but no, it's so we've took a lot of confidence of going there, and the way we played as well and performed. We didn't perform for 40 minutes in the first half at home. We performed well away in the second half of that game, but didn't create the big chance that you needed. There we've created some chances, and we'll get confidence from getting that penalty victory that we probably just about deserved.
How do you finish those chances? I know you said you had to work on creating those. Obviously, there were a couple in this past weekend off the crossbar. Westy, Toff, Brant all had really seemed like valuable chances.
Yeah.
How do you now finish them? I know playoff goals have not come easy over the last 2 seasons.
No, I mean, we've now got Wilf at home as well. You know, he was a big miss, obviously, in the first game. The qualities that he brings us, and, you know, you could see on Saturday in the game, the amount of free kicks he earns for you as well. You know, and I would expect, you know, a number of tackles to be made on him again. He's that type of player. He holds the ball really well for us. You know, and I think his extra quality could be the big thing for us.
You said you guys focused a lot on PKs going into this week. Did you guys focus maybe this past week any more on finishing goals and finishing those chances?
Yeah, no, we've done some crossing and finishing sessions. We've done some final third entry sessions as well, and we've still done some PKs as well.
And then
I never thought I'd say PK, by the way. Penalty kicks. Sorry.
But on the back line, obviously, it seems like all season long it was kind of building up to this moment with these four. They seem to really be cohesive. I think it's 8 clean sheets in the last 12 or 13 matches. How do you feel like this is finally that picture that you've been waiting for to get? There's been a lot of rotation all season long, but to get Harry in there and to get Nathan back on the right probably feels pretty good, right?
Yeah, it does. I think we've got a really good balanced team at the moment, but they've still got to go and perform in them positions. And, you know, although I didn't use the bench as much on Saturday, I might need to do that on Friday night. And, you know, what we're going to have as well Friday night is the bank will be rocking, and that'll be, you know, our 12th man for us as well.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Yeah, following up on that, you didn't get the Friday home game for game 1, or Friday or Saturday.
No, we had Tuesday.
Yeah, you didn't get that the first time, but
No.
now you have it in a critical, I mean, this is...
A big game, yeah, and that's why it's so important to finish in the top 4 in this format. You know, to get that home game, and you know, as you say, Friday night now, and the bank will be rocking. I know there's a lot of people really enthused about the game, and you know, we can all make this a special night for Charlotte. You know, so that's what you know is the players have got on their shoulders, and what they'll be able to handle this time.
The supporters don't score goals, they don't make saves. How do they impact the game for you guys? For you?
The noise they make, you know, at times they'll be sucking that ball towards the goal that we're playing towards. You know, the atmospheres that we've had last year against Orlando, this year against Miami. You can tell when it's a special moment. They turn up and they get behind us, and it'll be a good game.
You've had great crowd support throughout, but with all the chips in the middle here, how difficult is it for you as a coach to tell guys to stay within the moment, or are they just so used to the way the supporters are that it's a commonplace thing?
Yeah, no, the players are used to our support, you know, and appreciative of our support as well, and they'll be using it. There'll be times when our players will be, you know, waving their arms at the fans to get them lifted, and you know, that's what this occasion is going to be about.
Steve?
Just back to the PKs, in case it, you know, when you come down to these situations in MLS, it's tiebreakers. It's a big difference doing it in practice versus, you know, in a game situation when the pressure's on. Do you have anything you do in training to ratchet up the pressure of the moment as much as you can?
No, not really. I mean, you know, make sure they have the walk from the halfway line to get to feel that, you know, and have everybody watching. But that's the main thing. It's very hard to replicate that feeling, you know, of walking. In Bronico's case, he normally runs, you know, from the halfway line to the penalty spot. So it's, you know, it is quite unique. I was a penalty taker myself as a player, so I understand what it's like. And people will all have their own different ways of taking penalties as well. So, you know, there's no exact science about it, but you've got to use what you're most comfortable with.
No wagers, or you know, there's some managers in the past who've had, you know, make them do it under blaring noise and, you know, other types of distractions.
I think there's probably more pressure on when there's pure silence than there is actually with a lot of noise. So, you know, listen, we practiced them, and I thought we took 8 good penalties. Was it 8? Yeah, 8 good penalties. I mean, I thought there was a good save on Westies. The other penalties were very good.
Speaking of Veronica, how much has Brant improved as a player in your time here? He's become much more involved defensively.
Yeah, I think his improvement has been really, really good in terms of his tactical knowledge of the game now. I still sometimes need to get the reins on him and, stop him running sometimes. Be sometimes a bit more disciplined in his positional play. But giant heart, big heart, big lungs, because he can run all day. And that discipline side of it has got better and better as we've gone on, and he's got so much better. I think he sometimes gets overlooked for his technical ability, but he's turned into a really good part of our team for us.
With his motor, with Idon up there, when you're working the high press, is definitely seen an advantage.
Yeah, massively, because they build in a 3-and-1 at times, and we don't want our wide players jumping too much to open spaces in behind them. So the two of them have to deal with 4 at times, and it becomes a bit of a numbers game. But when you've got the likes of Idan and Brant, it becomes pretty even.
And that has to be supported by the shape of the team behind them too, to cut off.
Yeah, the distances and the structure, the organisation, the players know, the movements that we want when the ball goes in certain areas. They know what our pressing triggers are, and that's been over the last 20 months of work with them.
Did you do anything in training to replicate what New York City might do? Like, do you have someone who's the Martinez of that, who might?
Yeah, I mean, when we do some phase of plays, then we'll have an 11 against us, and one of the coaches will coach them as if they're New York City. That would be a normal training game. Match day -2, match day -1, where we actually have the opposition playing as New York.
And you work with certain players to be representative of the opposing
Yeah,
players
yeah, definitely.
and do the things that they do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Alfonso, then we'll go to Christian.
Dan, this question outside the game. Today, MLS announced the best 11,
Mhm.
and for me, Charlotte have a greatest player with a strong campaign. And for you, can you pick 1 or 2 players deserve for this best 11?
So,
So MLS announced today the best.
Their best 11?
The best 11.
okay. Voted for by who?
Hmm?
Voted for by who?
Media players and
Media.
staff.
Right, okay.
And can you pick 1 or 2 players of Charlotte FC's who deserve in the best 11?
I mean, one of our most consistent players over the last 2 years has been Adilson Malanda. That he's not had a shout over the last 2 years baffles me slightly. It hasn't baffled me that there's teams courting him and ended up, paying a lot of money for him. So he would be one. I think Wilf's had a top season as well. We had to adjust, but 21 goal involvements, really good. Pep Biel had a really good start to the season. Callie's come back through a period and he's showing what a goalkeeper he is again as well. So, yeah, I think we've got some good players in our team.
Game 2 had a lot more chirping than game 1. The guys were kind of jawing at it a little bit more. In game 3, when it's do or die, how do you kind of keep the guys in 5th gear without towing the line for booking?
Emotional control. It's a big thing that we talk about with the players. Again, don't get involved with the players, don't get involved with the officials. Control what you're in charge of. People try and put people off in games. That's gamesmanship, that happens in all games. But try and keep your head on the game. And we talk about teacup, thinking clearly under pressure. It's a big thing that we work on. And the players try to do that.
You said yourself, Clean has been coming back strong lately. What has it been for him that's put him over the top?
I think the fact that he's come through he came through a tough period early in the season, but mentally he was really, really good. He knew he'd made a few mistakes and he knew what he had to do to get through that, and he's just become a really safe goalkeeper again. And he makes really good saves look routine, and I think that's when you see a good goalkeeper.
Nick?
Yeah, Dean, do you, in games 1 and 2, like especially in game 2, you showed that you could handle their press and their kind of their trapping. Do you expect them to change now that they know you can handle that?
I think there'll be some nuances in this game 3 where both teams may try something a little bit different at times. But, you know, we'll both be the same squads as it has been. We've both got our identities in how we play, so I don't think it'll stray too far from that, apart from, you know, a couple of little tactical tweaks.
Yeah, and then in an elimination game, and Will talked about it earlier, and you alluded to maybe substituting earlier. How do you in your head go from leaving that core group out there to, hey, this sub can really make a difference? Yeah,
so before the game I'll have ideas of, you know, where I think substitutions can be made, what player could likely come on and do something different for us. But then, you know, you're in the game, you're feeling the game, and that's a big thing for me, that I'm feeling the game. And if I'm feeling comfortable, then, you know, there won't be too many changes if I think we're in control. You know, whereas, you know, at half time in the first game I said to the players, you've got 10 minutes before I'm making changes, so you change it or I change it. You know, so yeah, that's the way my thinking will go. I'll ask the opinions of the coaches as well if they're seeing anything, and we have eyes up in the stand as well where the game can look a little bit different, look a little bit slower at times as well. So, you know, that and my experience over the years of coaching loads of games.
And the last one for me, do you have a preference on what side of the field you're attacking in the first half versus the second half?
No.
The players, do they matter?
No, and teams have come here many times and, you know, won the toss and tried to get us to kick it another way. It doesn't matter to me. We've got fans behind both goals, so it doesn't matter.
Cool. Thanks.
Cheers.
Dean, thank you for joining us. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Teacup, it makes me.
Do you like that? Thinking clearly under pressure.
Yes.